be out there, she would be. Shortly before the show, Clark released this statement through the Fever's social media account saying that she's so excited for Indiana to host WNBA All-Star this weekend, and that she says she knows that this is going to be the best All-Star yet. But she does go on to say how incredibly sad and, quote, disappointed she will be to not be able to participate, adding, quote, I have to rest my body. I'll still be at Gainbridge Fieldhouse for all of the action. I'm looking forward to helping Sandy coach our team.
Adam Silver just saw the WNBA's biggest star sit out the All-Star game with another injury at the worst possible time. With CBA talks collapsing and lockout whispers growing louder, Caitlin Clark missing the league's biggest weekend has NBA leaders deeply worried. When your top player goes down amid a league-wide crisis, it's more than basketball. It's a full-blown emergency.
We do start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Clark had missed 4 games and the Commissioner's Cup final with that groin injury earlier this month, and now will be out for this weekend's festivities, which really stinks for fans, but you know that if there was any way that she could be out there.
Here's why this is a nightmare for the league. On Thursday, Caitlin Clark officially pulled out of the All-Star game, having already missed the three-point contest after re-injuring her right groin Tuesday. But it's not just any week. This is happening amid critical CBA negotiations that could decide if the WNBA even exists in 2026.
I'll leave the specific question about the foul to my colleague, Commissioner Engelbert. I mean, I other than as a fan, obviously, you know, it's nothing new in basketball that there's sort of welcome to the league moments, especially for heralded rookies. But of course, I want to see Caitlin treated fairly.
Adam Silver has made it clear he wants Caitlin treated fairly in the league. So when she misses the WNBA's biggest event, likely due to poor injury management, it's more than concern. It's a glaring red flag. With the NBA financially backing the WNBA, this isn't just a PR headache for Cathy Engelbert. It's a loud warning from the top. Clark's injury couldn't have come at a worse time, and those responsible must be held accountable.
Look, J.C. Sheldon needs CC in the groin.
It was just a weird...
It is not looking good for Caitlin Clark. This was by far the worst ref game. It looked like they wanted Caitlin Clark to be hurt, or they wanted something bad to happen to Caitlin.
Commissioner Cathy Engelbert has failed to protect the league's most marketable star. Veteran columnist Christine Brennan called her out for dodging questions about Caitlin Clark, instead shifting focus to players like Angel Reese, even when Clark is the only topic. That's not leadership, it's spin, and fans see right through it.
In terms of the comments, in terms of the way the commissioner, Cathy Engelbert, who I've known and I like, the way she has trouble talking about Caitlin Clark, or if she's asked about Caitlin, then she will say, well, Caitlin and Angel. Well, she wasn't asked about Angel. You know, she was asked about Caitlin. This incredible inability to deal with the facts and to state the obvious. It is astounding to me how Cathy Engelbert doesn't come out after the Marina Mabry hit and say that's unacceptable. The refs got it wrong. Okay, should have been kicked out then. You weren't.
This is the league's leader, yet she can't even say Clark's name without dodging, revealing a leadership void, not just a PR fail. Since Clark's injury, national WNBA viewership has crashed, with Indiana Fever games dropping from 1.8 million to 847,000 viewers, a staggering 53% loss and millions gone. Meanwhile, Engelbert acts like everything's fine. How did it come to this? The officiating fiasco that sparked it all, seen 141 injuries out of 179 players this season, an alarmingly high rate that demanded swift action, but Engelbert's response? As urgent as a soggy napkin.
The ball handler, there's a grab, there's a hold, there's another grab. I mean,
all of those are
fouls. Every single one of them. And here, that's a foul, and finally they call.
Officiating has been so terrible that WNBA legend Rebecca Lobo had to call it out live, pointing to multiple missed fouls on Caitlin Clark. There's a grab, there's a hold, another grab, That's a foul. When Hall of Famers publicly condemn referees in real time, it's not a small problem. It's a credibility crisis. And it's not just the media. Clark's coach, Stephanie White, has repeatedly blasted the officiating, saying, "I thought she got fouled. It's egregious what's been happening to us. The disrespect toward our team has been unbelievable."
I thought she got fouled. I think it's pretty egregious what's been happening to us the last few games. A minus 31 free throw discrepancy. And I might be able to understand it if we were just chucking threes, but we're not. We're attacking the rim. And the disrespect right now for our team has been pretty unbelievable. So it's disappointing.
That's not just emotion. It's a coach exposing a systemic failure. After Clark took repeated hits against the Connecticut Sun, White unleashed a fiery post-game blast, condemning referees for losing control and slamming the league's ongoing inaction. Everyone's improving except the officials.
Who is played 9 years in Indiana and now on the staff. And that's a live shot now of Caitlin Clark.
She went even further, revealing a deeper problem. Every year at our fall and spring league meetings, and nothing changes.
The game is fast now. Things are happening quickly. Everybody's getting better, except the officials. So we got to find a way to remedy it. I mean, you've heard every coach talk about it, so I don't know what the answer is.
In other words, this isn't new. It's a long-ignored problem under Kathy Engelbert's watch. As the league's popularity soared, officiating only worsened. That's unacceptable. And Caitlin Clark's groin injury, which kept her out of All-Star Weekend, is a direct result. Missed calls, unchecked physicality, and zero accountability. Marina Mabrey shoved Caitlin Clark to the floor after the play, a blatant act of aggression initially punished with only a technical foul, until fan outrage forced the league to upgrade it to a flagrant 2, exposing their failure to get it right in real time. Even Clark's brother publicly condemned the officials for losing control and causing his sister's injury, turning family pain into a desperate call for accountability. Yet Kathy Engelbert shrugged off the backlash with a tone-deaf dismissal, claiming only losing teams complain about officiating. A cold, arrogant response that reveals just how disconnected leadership is from the crisis unfolding on the court.
Yeah, and the one thing as a very long-term sports fan I know is that officiating and refereeing is always at the top of a fan's list, of the media's list. Obviously, we work hard on training. We work hard on consistency. Obviously, not every, they're humans. Looking at technology. Basketball is a little more complex than tennis, for instance, around technology of officiating. So we're looking at a variety of different dimensions.
Engelbert's mismanagement is costing the WNBA big time. Caitlin Clark, the league's star and ratings powerhouse, fuels massive viewership spikes. ESPN ratings jumped 170% from 133%, yet she's left unprotected. When Clark got injured, fever game betting dropped nearly 50%. Referees' chaos and inconsistent calls are driving players and fans mad. With Clark sidelined at All-Star Weekend, the league's biggest event crumbles amid labor tensions and looming lockouts. Once durable, Clark's repeated injuries under WNBA care threaten the league's future, risking millions in revenue and audience.
I don't have a problem with the WNBA players asking for a raise. The WNBA is on a hot streak. I don't care about the previous 24, 25 years. As an investment, it's starting to pay off. And so this week they wore T-shirts saying, making a statement, you better pay us. But instead of just leaving it at that, Kelsey Plum for LA had to take a dig at Caitlin Clark.
Colin Cowherd just called out Kelsey Plum, and it was long overdue. While Caitlin Clark is turning the WNBA into a profitable league, Plum took a shot at the very person fueling that success. Cowherd fired back, exposing the jealousy brewing within the league. So what exactly did he say? And why is he comparing Caitlin Clark to Michael Jordan?
The t-shirt just united front was determined this morning that we had a meeting for. And, not to tattletale, but 0 members of Team Clark were very present for that.
For over 20 years, WNBA players flew budget airlines and even paid for water. They played in empty arenas for money-losing teams, with merchandise so scarce fans couldn't find jerseys to buy.
But why do you take a shot at the Golden Goose, Caitlin Clark? You guys were flying before she arrived on one of those airlines that made you pay for a cup of water. One of those airlines that is the planes are the color of a highlighter. Now you're flying private. Okay, if you're in a band and you're staying at the Motel 6 and you add a band member and now you're at the Ritz-Carlton, keep your issues to yourself. All right? You went from a Motel 6 in a sketchy part of town to a Four Seasons in the shopping district. Stop talking.
Then Caitlin Clark arrived and everything changed. Merchandise sales soared 500% and league attendance rose 40%, with some cities now selling out games. Teams once losing money became profitable, and the Indiana Fever went from financial disaster to having a season ticket wait list.
I don't mind the t-shirts. I think you have leverage. I think you deserve more than 9%. But it's just misstep after misstep. It's time to grow up, girls. Like fast. Like this is the player that got you off the airline that was bright yellow. Right? She got you an upgrade to a better hotel as a band member.
What fires up Cowherd is that players who once flew budget now enjoy private jets, better hotels, and higher salaries. The league's finances improved fast, yet some veterans still complain about the person who made it all happen.
I think they deserve a big raise, maybe not 50% of revenues, because NBA stars, there's a lot of them, and they move the needle. The WNBA stars, well, there's one that moves the needle. And here's the other thing to remember. Caitlin Clark's already rich. She made $11 million this year alone in endorsements off the court. So regardless of how these negotiations go, she's set. Nobody else is, right? So when somebody joins the band and everything gets upgraded, just be happy.
Clark transformed the WNBA from a charity case into a real business. TV ratings spike when she plays, sponsors are investing, and Clark jerseys are flying off shelves. Every player benefits, yet some still complain. That's what frustrates Cowherd. Why bite the hand that feeds you when you're finally winning?
I know you wanted your song to be the first one they played. You wanted to make up the set. It's not the t-shirts. You're going to do fine. I'd scale back on the Caitlin Clark angst.
Cowherd nailed it, comparing the WNBA's rise to moving from a Motel 6 to a Four Seasons, thanks to Caitlin Clark. Everything improved. Travel, pay, respect. Yet some veterans still act like nothing changed, complaining from their upgraded conditions. Then came the All-Star voting, revealing deeper issues. Fan votes, coach picks, and player ballots shape legacies and endorsements. For young stars, it's more than a game. It's their future.
Caitlin Clark finished 9th in player voting. In fact, she finished behind one of her own teammates in player voting for the All-Star game. The pettiness has no bounds. But it's interesting, for years, the WNBA players were pointing fingers. They were saying people are sexist, the media is sexist, we're not being promoted, we're underappreciated. And then they get the golden goose and they don't like what it looks like.
Fans ranked Caitlin Clark first among guards. Her fellow players, 9th. The league's biggest star, driving record crowds and sales, was barely acknowledged by those benefiting from her impact. And the gap wasn't even close.
Iowa girl, Indiana girl. Well, who knows, and I've said this for years, when the wave hits, ride it. You don't know what it looks like. Don't fight it. When Puka Nacua went in the 5th round of the Rams and they suddenly in camp went, oh, we just found a new number 1 receiver. He's better than Cooper Kupp. They didn't fight it. Did you think when you watched Tom Brady at the Combine, that looked like the GOAT? They had just signed Drew Bledsoe to a $103 million contract. That was a lot of money back then. And then a year in, they're like, I think we're going to go with Brady. They didn't fight it.
Let's be honest. Clark's all-star snub wasn't about her game. She had the stats and records to back it up. This was personal. In other sports, young stars like LeBron and Tiger earned respect, even if they stole the spotlight. But with Clark, the pushback felt petty. Cowherd called it out. Some WNBA players weren't appreciating the one who transformed their league. Instead of backing the Golden Goose, they worked against their own success.
There's obviously a racial component here. The WNBA players, they just don't like what the wave looks like. They wanted to fly private. They wanted to be more popular. They wanted a better deal in the CBA, which they'll get. They wanted sold out arenas. They got it. They don't necessarily think it should be this. But again, you can't fight it. You just never know what success looks like.
Here's what makes it worse. Players like Agia Wilson and Kelsey Plum gained from Clark's rise. Their visibility, salaries, and conditions improved thanks to the attention Clark brought. Yet, in all-star voting, they ranked her below far less impactful players.
Every company in the country would love to go viral every day for free marketing. If they knew how to do it, they'd all be viral every day. Like, you just don't know. Is it authentic? It touches people. There's a tentacle of emotion involved, and suddenly some small town kid goes viral, or a singing frog. Who knows? I wouldn't have guessed that Caitlin Clark would be this transformative. I wouldn't have guessed Tom Brady would be the GOAT. Don't fight it. The wave, the meteor, doesn't necessarily look like you think it's going to look.
This voting controversy ties directly to what's happened on the court all season. Hard fouls, unnecessary contact, clear targeting. Some veterans can't accept that a sophomore reshaped their league, so they lash out in games and all-star voting, blaming Clark for their own success.
People are saying, hey man, this league has never made money. It's an investment. It's now going to make money. And by the way, this is the least profitable, arguably, it'll be over the next 10 years. It's only going to get more profitable as women's basketball gets better, as the Caitlin Clark momentum train gets bigger. I mean, this year, she's not playing well. She's hurt. She's not there for all the games. So this is actually not as great as it could be. Like Michael Jordan, hurt year 2, next 12 years were legendary. That's what it's going to be.
Cowherd made a bold but clear comparison. Clark and Jordan both entered as flashy rookies who instantly changed their leagues. Jordan made the NBA global, and Clark is doing the same for the WNBA. The parallel is obvious, yet few are willing to say it.
Caitlin Clark's gotten really good really fast. It's like the end of year 1 for Michael Jordan or year 3 for Michael Jordan. She's gotten really good really fast. And you got to put a body on her, or you got to double team her, or she's going to embarrass you. She's shooting 33-footers. And what happened last night's a byproduct of that. This is what happened to MJ. She's number 1 and 2 in every offensive stat. She's hitting more threes this season than Steph Curry did in his first MVP season. And her game embarrasses you.
The physical punishment says it all. Jordan endured the Jordan rules, aggressive tactics meant to wear him down. Clark faces similar targeting today. Early on, officials couldn't protect Jordan, and now they're failing Clark. Cowherd noted how much is being let go, and it's starting to feel inappropriate.
It's a little bad boys Pistons with MJ. For the record, Caitlin Clark got up. She wasn't hurt. She did more trash talking. She hit more threes. She remained remarkable, just like all the great. If you respect women, stop pandering. She's tough. She's feisty. She likes to taunt and talk. And nobody quite knows what the hell to do.
Remember when Clark missed a game due to injury? The same thing happened to Jordan early on, as teams tried to intimidate him physically. Officiating couldn't keep up with what these generational talents brought. Both leagues had to learn how to protect their stars while keeping the game competitive.
Steph Curry's first couple years in the league. Thank God for Draymond Green. And by the way, this league, they knew what they were getting into, right? Like, and I'll get to this in a second, but they brought Sophie Cunningham over in a trade for a reason. She's the youngest black belt in the state of Missouri's history, 6 years old. They brought her over to protect Caitlin Clark because they saw this puppy coming. The league doesn't quite know what to do, but the Fever did. And so, again, you got to put a body on her. You got to get physical.
Both teams brought in enforcers. The Bulls got Charles Oakley for Jordan. The Fever signed Sophie Cunningham for Clark. Cowherd noted it's no coincidence. The Fever knew, like the Bulls did, that protecting a transformative star is just smart business.
If you go look at the history of basketball, high school, college, WNBA, NBA, if there's an offensive player and they're humiliating you, Steph, Shaq, MJ, Caitlin, what do? You can't trap her. She'll dribble through it. You got to put a body on her. You got to double team her. You try to get in her head with trash talking. It's not working at all. It's the ultimate compliment, in my opinion.
Merchandise and TV ratings tell the same story. Clark is a dynastic TV ratings changer, just like Jordan was as a rookie. Both became instant must-watch stars. The WNBA is seeing the same surge the NBA did with Jordan. But here's the uncomfortable part. Both faced resentment from veterans who felt overshadowed. Clark's All-Star snub proves that resentment is still very real.
And so the first year Caitlin Clark was in the WNBA, they were hazing her. They're not hazing her anymore. They're just trying to figure out how the hell to stop her. Okay, it's not hazing. It's, all right, traps, pressure. So the Fever saw it coming. They went and got Sophie Cunningham, 6-year-old black belt. This is what the Bulls did with Charles Oakley to protect Michael Jordan.
The college popularity factor ties it all together. Jordan's North Carolina fame fueled the NBA's rise. Clark's Iowa stardom is reshaping the WNBA. Both brought huge college fan bases into the pros. Cowherd believes these early challenges will only make Clark stronger, just like they did for Jordan. The WNBA's future depends on embracing, not resisting, this change.
This is a fake, one-sided rivalry. We got Angel Reese taking more shots at Caitlin Clark unnecessarily. You in Indiana having a great time partying. We see all the clips. Why can't you just do your thing?
Angel Reese launched her shoe campaign during WNBA All-Star Weekend, aiming for the spotlight. But Caitlin Clark got injured, ticket prices crashed 48%, and interest vanished. Reese ended up performing for no one. Now we break down how it all went wrong.
But can Sarah Spain and the media stop going out there and saying that, the Caitlin Clark needs to do something to stop all this, when it is very clear this is a one-sided beef, and the one-sided beef is not from Caitlin Clark?
Everyone thought this All-Star Weekend would be the breakthrough for women's basketball. It was supposed to be Clark versus Reese in Indy, packed arenas, screaming fans, and record viewership that would finally force ESPN to care. It had all the makings of a Hollywood moment.
We do start our show, though, with unfortunate news out of the WNBA. Caitlin Clark announced today that she will miss both the three-point contest and the WNBA All-Star Game this upcoming weekend in Indiana after re-aggravating a groin injury in that final minute of Tuesday's win over the Connecticut Sun. Clark had missed 4 games and the Commissioner's Cup final with that groin injury earlier this month, and now will be out for this weekend's festivities, which really stinks for fans, but you know that if there was any way that she could be out.
Then came the shock. Clark's groin injury, announced days before the weekend. Everything unraveled. Fans had flown in just to see her. Hotels were packed, restaurants bracing for crowds. Sponsors banked on the Clark-Reese rivalry. Nike had drops ready. ESPN called it must-see TV.
It's a story we have been following throughout the past 2 days, surrounds the superstar herself, Caitlin Clark, the WNBA star, the Indiana Fever star, Caitlin Clark. She's going to miss all the action on the court.
Clark's home state was set to be her stage. Indiana fans were ready to pack Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The hometown hero narrative was perfect, but once her injury hit social media, the hype collapsed, marketing wobbled, and the storyline vanished. The buzz just deflated.
Caitlin Clark gets hurt, and guess what? Your demand vanishes because people ain't going to pay up to see these athletes that are ungrateful that their sport's growing. People aren't paying up for that.
And we are here, right here. The tickets for this game, for this All-Star game, they've dropped by 50%.
This wasn't just any injury. Clark brought casual fans and real attention to the WNBA. Without her, the league lost its main draw. What was a celebration became a reminder of fragile momentum. Everything hinged on her showing up. And when she didn't, the spotlight faded.
But when it comes to the vendors in the arena, the shops in the arena, they're not going to have the same amount of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was there. The surrounding restaurants, the surrounding areas, the surrounding attractions, they're not going to have the same number of people patronize their business as they would if Caitlin Clark was healthy.
What was meant to be a celebration of women's basketball turned into a wake-up call for the league's growing pains. While Clark dealt with a real injury and left fans heartbroken, someone else saw a chance to grab the spotlight, turning the weekend into a personal stage.
Reebok, Angel Reese are taking shots at Caitlin Clark, using her as promo. Angel Reese, let's be clear here. Let's just be all the way clear here. Angel Reese is a solid basketball player. Angel Reese 100% has benefited from attaching herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn. Her podcast, the first 3 episodes, all the clips promoting was bringing up Caitlin Clark. It was bringing up Caitlin Clark and all of the promo. People wanted to know what she was going to say. She used Caitlin Clark as promo.
Now picture this, dropping your biggest marketing campaign in your rival's hometown while she's sidelined and can't even show up. That's what Angel Reese did with her I'm in Your City campaign during All-Star Weekend in Indianapolis. Her Reebok shoe launch came with bold billboards, aggressive social media, and a message that felt like a takeover in Clark's own backyard.
Angel Reese, I'm in your city. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. Post it on Instagram. There's about 15 fans there and Reebok put up a board. You would expect Reebok to put up a board. Let's never forget that when let's never forget the gigantic Caitlin Clark Nike billboard in Chicago. Let's never forget that. So if Reebok didn't put up a board for Angel Reese,
the timing was either terrible or perfectly calculated, depending on your angle. Reese's team built the whole campaign around being in Indianapolis, fully aware it was Clark's home turf. This wasn't just a shoe launch, it was a statement dropped deep in rival territory.
Is you continue to take shots at her, and then when them shots get fired back, nobody likes it. We don't have no videos of Caitlin Clark really taking shots at Angel Reese. Look at what Angel Reese and Reebok are doing for views. Walk in your trap, take over your trap. This is promo they're doing in Indianapolis, where Caitlin Clark plays. That is a clear shot. It's a clear shot. Like I said, this is a fake rivalry. I think you've won one game versus Caitlin Clark. You've never won in Indiana at all. It's just like you continue to attach yourself to her at every turn and use her as promo.
Let's be real. Reese flooded social media with walk in your trap, take over your trap messaging, even backing it with Bankroll Fresh's Take Over Your Trap on her Instagram story. But with Clark sidelined, it came off like she was claiming a win by default. Social media didn't hold back. Some fans called it savvy marketing, but way more saw it as tone-deaf and classless. The reaction? A mix of light jabs and serious criticism, all focused on the questionable timing.
Caitlin Clark has never said a negative word about Angel Reese. Caitlin Clark has never said a negative word, or to be honest, when it comes to Caitlin Clark, she did show it by her actions. Showed it by her actions. She didn't need to say, I'm taking over Chicago. She did, however, go and put up 31 and 12, set a career high with 12 assists, be the only player in the history of the WNBA ever to have 31 and 12 in a game. She did, in fact, do that and then try to hype up the Chicago crowd. So it's fair enough, you want to say, oh, Caitlin Clark did this, then show it with your actions. Go and win MVP. Go and win MVP. Don't just be like, this is my city. Don't just come in and be like, this is my city. You've never won a game. Has she won a game in Indiana? I don't think she's ever won a game in Indiana. I actually do not think she has won a pro game in Indiana.
Here's where it got interesting. Reese didn't back off when Clark's absence was confirmed. While other players showed respect and dialed down the competition, Reese pushed her campaign full throttle. The contrast was clear. Most All-Stars were there to celebrate the league. Reese, meanwhile, seemed focused on fueling a rivalry with someone who couldn't even suit up.
Now with Reebok she's using. This is nonstop. She has attached herself to Caitlin Clark at every single turn, and she has benefited. Let's be clear here. Yes, she does receive backlash. She does receive negativity. But she has benefited greatly. She has made millions of dollars off of attaching herself to Caitlin Clark and using her to make her brand bigger.
What was meant as a bold flex looked like a win by default. Claiming someone's city while they're injured isn't competition, it's opportunism. One analyst called it a one-sided rivalry. Reese swung at the air while Clark faced real setbacks. The backlash, it showed in the numbers.
This is absolutely a one-sided rivalry. And we've got to say it like it is. Like, we can't say Caitlin needs to do this, Caitlin needs to do that. Let's be real. The only reason this is still a rivalry is because the other side of the rivalry won't stop it. And by the way, it is extremely beneficial for Angel Reese to be in this rivalry.
Want to see Clark's impact? Look at the numbers. Ticket prices crashed from $121 to $64, a 48% drop. It wasn't minor. The market shouted her value. TickPick had the game set for a $262 average until her injury. That record-setting hype? Gone, along with Reese's credibility.
And it's not just the on-court product that suffers without number 22, Caitlin Clark. The entire weekend's economic opportunities have felt the fallout. This was conveyed with a July 18th post from NBA Central that wrote, quote, "The get-in price for the WNBA All-Star Game in Indianapolis has dropped 48%. From $121 a ticket to $64 a ticket after the news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing."
Clark's impact is superstar economics. When she missed games in May, ticket resale prices dropped 47% in DC and 71% in Chicago. Unheard of. Sponsors scrambled, WNBA packages sold out, arenas filled fast. But without Clark, all that planning felt shaky.
From $121 all the way down to just $64 after news broke that Caitlin Clark won't be playing. These are people saying, I'm done. I don't want to watch. Caitlin Clark's not. I bought tickets solely to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. I made accommodations solely to get to Indiana to watch Caitlin Clark in the All-Star game. She's injured. I have no interest in that anymore.
Clark's absence rippled far beyond the arena. Merch sales, concessions, and hotel bookings in Indy all took a hit. Local businesses had prepped for a tourism surge. Restaurants stocked up, hotels sold out. But without Clark, the crowds never came. It exposed the WNBA's dependence on one player. Having a star like her is a massive boost, but it's also risky. When she's out, the whole structure shakes. No other WNBA player moves the needle like Caitlin Clark.
But, like, it is another situation than pretending like Caitlin Clark doesn't exist.
They want to make the trajectory look like it's going up and not down. It's whatever, man. We see what's going on.
They're trying to make it so that the data looks as favorable as possible.
ESPN didn't want to show the ratings were down from WNBA All-Star Game because Caitlin Clark didn't play, so they just used the 2023 numbers instead.
ESPN lying.
ESPN got exposed for twisting the truth about WNBA All-Star ratings to cover up the fallout from Caitlin Clark's absence. The cover-up was so sloppy, even their own journalists called it out. After the 2025 game dropped 36% in ratings, from 3.44 million in 2024 to 2.2 million, ESPN ignored last year's record and instead compared it to 2023 to fake growth.
Yes, you guys heard me correctly. The numbers are in. And just like I told you, there was a boycott.
You got to understand, these numbers, they did like 2 million viewers. That's up from 2023. 2023 was a little over 900,000. So it is up. So the numbers are going up. But compared to last year, it fell by 40%.
Oh, so they going to try to spin it. Okay, it could be the second most watched. of all time. Of course, it's going to be that, but compared to last year, you still down 36%.
What makes ESPN's spin worse is the game was in Caitlin Clark's home arena, Indianapolis. It was meant to be a major WNBA celebration, the league's biggest stage in its biggest stars city. But instead of triumph, it became a ratings disaster so bad, ESPN tried to fake a success story.
They're just skewing data.
So it's up 158% compared to 23. What happened to 24? Y'all just gonna skip over 24? Like, what?
Thing is, this could be disingenuous too. That's the bad side of it, because for some reason they have a thing where they want to compare everything without Caitlin. They're like, oh, well, she's an anomaly, so we could compare these numbers to 2023 and show you that without Caitlin, it's growing.
This is very similar to the WNBA draft, comparing it to 2023. Very similar to how they are presenting this graph.
The mess began on July 15th when Clark aggravated a groin issue during Indiana's win over Connecticut. Hours after she announced she'd skip All-Star Weekend, ticket prices crashed 48%, from $121 to $64. Fans made it clear, no Caitlin Clark, no interest. This wasn't a small dip. It exposed how reliant the WNBA is on a 23-year-old. It's striking, as Clark missed 10 games this season after never missing one in college or her rookie year. Can networks be trusted when they have money in the leagues they cover?
So for all the people that thought that it wasn't a boycott against this All-Star game, it was, bro. People was just DMing me, telling me that they weren't going to look at it. People was telling me that they refunded their tickets. I was even supposed to be there, and I decided not to go because of the things with the referees and the WNBA disrespecting Caitlin.
1,250,000 viewers, woof, out of existence. No Caitlin Clark, not tuning in.
ESPN's sleight of hand is clear in how they framed their historic rating success. They didn't just skip 2024, they picked 2023 data, before Clark went pro and when the WNBA drew little attention. Instead of admitting ratings dropped by over 1 million, ESPN promoted a misleading stat that 2025 was up 158% from 2 years ago. It wasn't a mistake. It was a calculated PR move to distract from the fallout of Clark's absence.
So all of you guys can sit there and say, oh, you guys are just trying to uplift one player. Oh, the league is more than one. I agree, the league is more than one player. It's more than one good basketball player. But is there more than one player that moves the tide? No. We just have to be honest. It's okay.
What gives it away is ESPN's sudden shift in tone. All season, they praised Clark for boosting growth and selling out arenas. But when the All-Star game flopped without her, they claimed no single player matters. They pointed to Friday's Skills Challenge, getting 1.3 million viewers, up 89% from last year, but left out that the jump came from format changes and prime time slots, not a rise in league interest. The boost wasn't about Reese, Wilson, or others. It was fans still hoping Clark might show.
There is fans that are just Caitlin Clark fans. I said this yesterday. If Caitlin Clark was to leave to go to New York or any other damn team, expect significant impact in the Indiana Fever viewership, bro. People might tune in for that first season without Caitlin if she was to leave, but after that, it is over with.
There was plenty of people I saw online who said, yo, Caitlin Clark not playing. Oh, she's hurt and they don't want to call fouls. Okay, I'm not giving them a view. I'm not gonna watch. There was plenty of people that boycotted watching this WNBA All-Star.
The fallout went beyond TV. Clark's All-Star exit set off a domino effect across the WNBA's business. Ticket sales, merch, and sponsorship values all took a hit. The market reacted like it lost its center. ESPN's spin couldn't hide what fans saw. The 48% ticket price drop wasn't minor. It was a clear message from fans who paid to see Caitlin Clark and didn't care about her replacements.
You can see when Caitlin doesn't play, it happens. And how are we meant to know that if Caitlyn ends up missing a year, Caitlyn's gone, that all those fans don't just leave again?
They know they need Caitlin Clark to grow this league, man.
It wasn't just empty seats. Social media was flooded with fan cancellations. People shared scrap trips, resold tickets, and skipped the broadcast. The WNBA didn't just lose viewers, it lost momentum. This wasn't fringe, it was a visible fan boycott ESPN tried to bury by inflating numbers to keep sponsors from panicking over a WNBA without its star.
Why not just not put up 153? Just say 2.2 million average viewers, and then just say second most watched All-Star game ever behind 2024, which is fine. You don't even have to say how down bad it is. It's a PR page.
Instead of trying to down Caitlin Clark and diminish her to the level that other people may be at, why don't you promote the other people alongside of Caitlin Clark's greatness?
The financial fallout from Clark's injury hit more than the arena. It rippled through Indianapolis. Hotels, restaurants, and shops prepared for a Clark-driven tourism boost, even stocking up on fever gear. But once she was out, crowds shrank, momentum stalled, and ESPN ignored the economic impact, focusing on selective stats. Her absence didn't just show her value, it exposed a league-wide void. Napheesa Collier scored 36 and won MVP, but it barely registered. No viewership surge, no buzz. The WNBA hasn't built another star who draws national attention. A failure of branding, not just talent.
If Caitlin Clark was in it, we're going to say it's up on non-Caitlin Clark numbers because, Caitlin Clark's just an anomaly. Caitlin Clark's not a player. Caitlin Clark is not relevant to this. Caitlin Clark is an anomaly.
Y'all are trying to straddle the fence. We want your money, but we don't want you. Which one is it? Which one is it? We want the viewership, but we only want viewership from certain people's fans. We want the ratings up, but we don't want these type of, no. Do you want it or not? You got to accept what comes with everything. The good, the bad, the ugly.
The backlash to ESPN's spin came fast. Journalist Christine Brennan called out their framing, questioning why they promoted historic ratings despite a major drop from last year. Her viral tweet exposed ESPN's deception. It wasn't just fans, it was respected media voices drawing the line. Then Austin Karp of Sports Business Journal added key context ESPN ignored. Clark drives numbers, and without her, they tank. He showed a clear pattern of declines tied to her absence, proving the WNBA's reliance on her and ESPN's choice to cover it up.
Now, many other people stated that, you know what? It was sold out. It was not a boycott. Well, you know the old saying, men lie, women lie, and the numbers don't. This is a case of the numbers not lying.
By comparing this year's All-Star numbers to 2023, ESPN admitted what they won't say outright. There's a pre-Clark and post-Clark WNBA. These are different worlds in fan interest and commercial value. Using 2023, when Clark was in college and viewership was low, was a deliberate attempt to hide this year's collapse. It highlights how the league's visibility and finances hinge on one player, a truth ESPN won't say aloud to sponsors or investors.
I believe that it's everything also leading up to this. I mean, talk about leading up to this. The officiating, I think enough fans had it up to here with the league as a whole. People had it up to here. You got to understand. Caitlin Clark is getting beat up in these games. The refs aren't calling anything. Kathy Engelbert seems to have air between both of her ears. She seems to have pure air floating between her ears. And I think people are fed up.
ESPN spent the season praising Clark for driving viewership and lifting the league until the numbers crashed without her. Then suddenly, star power didn't matter. That flip-flop shatters their entire narrative. If Clark isn't vital, why make her the face of the WNBA? It's a story built on selective truth, and it collapses under its own weight. But this goes beyond image. It hits players in the pocket. Right now, WNBA athletes are fighting for better pay, with TV ratings as a key bargaining chip. Those pay us what you owe us shirts? They weren't fashion. They were a demand for fairness. And ESPN's spin? it didn't just blur the truth, it sabotaged their leverage. By burying the 36% drop, they painted a fake picture of growth. Clark's impact is real, the collapse without her is real, and pretending otherwise doesn't just distort the story, it rewrites the future.
Sophie Cunningham is going viral right now for a TikTok video she made.
Sophie Cunningham gets fined $500 by Kathy Engelbrain
for making this slick TikTok.
$500 is absolutely hilarious.
Once again, the WNBA has crossed the line.
Sophie Cunningham actually posted this herself, stating, "I got fined $500.
Sophie Cunningham didn't get fined for a foul or a heated reaction. She got hit with a $500 penalty for saying what fans have been yelling all year. WNBA officiating is a joke, and she had the guts to call it out.
Fans, they're responding to this video because she's calling out WNBA officiating, WNBA refs.
Cunningham posted the video 6 days ago. It shows her lip-syncing lyrics from Sabrina Carpenter's song Man-Child. The caption to the video is, "At some refs."
Stupid. Or is it slow? Maybe it's useless.
Yesterday, Cunningham reposted the video on X with a caption about the fine.
Worse yet, she wasn't just speaking for herself. She was standing up for Caitlin Clark, the league's biggest target.
Cunningham criticized some refs by describing them as stupid, slow, and useless. Damn!
Sophie Cunningham took an elbow to the face, and the ref did nothing. No call, no whistle, no reaction. Just silence, as if headshots are now part of the game. The message? Take the hit. No one's stopping it. And rather than address the issue, the league fined Sophie for posting the video. She spoke out, and the WNBA made her pay for it.
You guys don't remember what happened in this game. In the Sun game, right before this, she got chucked out of bounds and the referee just stared and watched. And then she got elbowed in the face 2 possessions later and the referees just watched.
Sophie got hit in the back of the head with the elbow, right? Ref looking right at it, didn't do a thing, didn't say a thing, was shaking her head like, nah, you flopped. That is crazy work.
This wasn't just about a TikTok. It was a warning. A clear message to silence anyone daring to speak up, especially for Caitlin Clark, who's taken hits and cheap shots all season while refs look the other way.
At some refs. Stupid, slow, useless. Oh my goodness, man.
Following play, Sophie Cunningham breathes on a player, gets called for a foul. Referees were definitely not doing Sophie any favors that game and purposely ignoring, dare I say, flagrant fouls. Elbowing somebody in their shoulder, elbowing somebody in their neck, face area. Yeah, that's a flagrant foul. There's no other way to slice it.
Sophie's message hit hard because it was true. And it echoed what Indiana Fever players have felt all season. Rough play, targeted fouls, and zero protection. The fine wasn't just punishment, it was a warning. Stay quiet or you're next.
I got fined $500 for this TikTok. I don't know why this is funny to me. Like, okay, you got it, bud, because there's not more important things to be worried about with our league right now.
Give Sophie credit. This wasn't just a rant. It was leadership, honest, raw, and real. The league punished her, but fans backed her instantly.
Caitlin Clark, and you can tell she's talking about being mentally beat down. We also know she's physically beat down. Why does this keep happening? And look, it's not just the Fever, it's not just Caitlin. There's a bunch of players across the leagues that's been speaking out against this.
Support flooded in. Players, reporters, fans, even WNBA legends. Everyone saw it for what it was. Sophie wasn't just fined, she became a symbol of the league's deeper problems.
Am I shocked that an activist basketball league decided to target Sophie Cunningham? No, I'm not surprised by that. I mean, this whole league's got all of its priorities all bleeped up, especially from social media, this and that and the other, but that's not the point. She should not be getting fined for this.
Her fine was just another chapter in the league's playbook. Punish those who speak out, especially if they defend Caitlin Clark. Meanwhile, the ones taking shots at her, protected, untouchable.
It doesn't seem that Cunningham will receive another fine from the WNBA for her posts and her continued criticism of the league.
Stacey Dales, who covers the NFL, has been on NFL Network forever. She's laughing her ass off about this.
Let's be real. Caitlin Clark's taken more cheap shots than anyone in years. Elbows, slams, trips, shoves, and she still gets the fewest calls. Fans now hold their breath on every layup, not to see if she scores, but if she survives it.
Sophie gets fined for TikTok, but players can bulldoze Caitlin almost every game with no response from the league.
It's not just unfair, it's dangerous. And the silence from the league is infuriating.
And Caitlin, she's been through the same BS. We see the pattern, and the league better start seeing it too.
Take this. Sophie gets elbowed, no call. She says a few words to the ref, who replies, "I'll remember that." Minutes later, she's hit with a phantom foul. That's not officiating, that's payback.
There's obviously, I did a video last night about Caitlin Clark, and you can tell she's talking about being mentally beat down. We also know she's physically beat down.
Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark gets mocked online after an eye injury, even by a teammate. Opponents laugh about it on Instagram. And the league? Silent. No fines, no action, nothing.
When Caitlin Clark returns, she's not getting abused and the referees are keeping their mouth shut. It's going to take somebody on the team to consistently speak out, because we know damn sure the coach is too scared to get fined. Oh, you guys going to fine me again? This is the game that after pushing and shoving for a jump ball, she says 2 words to the referee. The referee says, "Oh, I'll remember that." Following play, Sophie Cunningham breathes on a player, gets called for a foul. Referees were definitely not doing Sophie any favors that game.
This is the double standard fans are fed up with.
When last year, after Caitlin Clark got poked in the eye, dirty Dejanay Carrington and Alyssa Smith got on IG and made us mocking Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark is the WNBA's biggest draw, breaking viewership records, selling tickets, driving revenue. She's the league's engine, yet they won't protect her. Worse, they punish those who try. That's why Sophie's fine matters. She didn't just challenge a bad call, she exposed a broken system. The league isn't protecting stars, it's protecting its story.
Caitlin Clark has changed the game. She changed it in college and in the WNBA.
The country has fallen in love with what we have created. And America, here's the girl next door, all grown up, Caitlin Clark.
Caitlin Clark has captivated the nation, breaking scoring records in college and bringing women's basketball to a whole new audience.
She is a phenomenon.
Sophie didn't start drama. She posted a video after taking an elbow. That alone got her fined. Meanwhile, players rough up Caitlin Clark without consequence. Fans see it. Even casual viewers spot the double standard. Sophie gets punished for a TikTok, but others can flatten Caitlin and joke about it online. This isn't inconsistency. It's a warning. Stay quiet.
As long as Kathy Engelbert is going to play one of the 3 blind mice, they're going to keep doing it. As long as Adam Silver just ignores this crap.
So what happens? Players go silent. Coaches look the other way. No one wants to be the next target for speaking out.
And all right, that is crazy work. They have to do better by these players. You have to protect these players, man. Protect your talent. It's as simple as that.
But Sophie spoke up. She took the hit on the court and off it to stand up for a teammate. That's rare in today's WNBA. This isn't about $500. It's about a culture where speaking out gets punished and doing the damage doesn't.
Sophie Cunningham is not the type who keeps her feelings to herself. The Indiana Fever star is quite outspoken, and she has no issue expressing her beliefs publicly, even if it gets her in trouble.
Fans have had it. The moment Sophie shared her fine, outrage lit up online. Loud, focused, and relentless. The league's socials got flooded. Some fans even offered to cover the fine themselves. That's how fed up people are.
Instead, let's fine the players because they're speaking out loud. It would be different. If the officiating was at least solid, I'd be like, yeah, you can't run your mouth about the referees. The officiating in this league blows chunks.
One viral comment nailed it. Sophie gets fined for a TikTok, but Caitlin gets hit, mocked, and ignored. That message spread fast. Twitter, TikTok, YouTube, Instagram, and Kathy Engelbert? Silent. No statement, no defense, just silence. And it's becoming her trademark.
How did we get to an all-star game in Indiana where Caitlin Clark is not healthy enough to play? Well, it all started last year. in her rookie season, where she received 20% of all the flagrant fouls in the league. And most of them came from Angel Reese in the Chicago Sky. And these weren't basketball plays. They were not only fouling her, but they were getting up, laughing about it, laughing about Caitlin Clark getting assaulted. Any other work environment, people go to jail for what's going on.
This was Engelbert's chance to lead, to back the players elevating the league and putting their bodies on the line. Instead, she chose punishment over conversation, control over courage. Now, fans aren't just angry, they're disillusioned.
And last year, I noticed how much it was just Caitlin Clark. Caitlin Clark was taking all the hits. Caitlin Clark was taking all the abuse. But this year they've added Sophie Cunningham. She gets more flagrant fouls on her than anybody in the league besides Caitlin Clark. And Aaliyah Boston, she's been taking hits as well. But the worst thing is the consistency. So they don't call flagrant fouls, or most of the time, Caitlin Clark could be held for an entire game at a time. They don't call fouls. They don't call common fouls. But then when it's the Indiana Fever, guess what? Touch foul here, touch foul here. They call absolutely nothing.
Let's not forget, Caitlin Clark is the reason the WNBA is even part of the national conversation. She's breaking records, making headlines, and drawing eyes to every game, hers or not. So when she gets hammered with no call, and those who defend her get punished, the message is loud and chilling. The league doesn't care about its biggest star.
A bunch of players and coaches of the last few days have complained without being fine-worthy about officiating. I just want to see about your thoughts on if officiating is an issue and how it can be improved, because clearly there seems to be problems or disconnect between what players and coaches feel and what officials are actually calling.
This was the WNBA's moment to prove it values fairness over optics, players over PR. Instead, it chose silence, and now it's paying the price.
The Indiana Fever beat the Dallas Wings 102-83. This was a highly anticipated game because it was going to be the first time that Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers would be going up against one another in the WNBA.
For 5 years, basketball fans have witnessed one of the sport's most electrifying rivalries. Caitlin Clark versus Paige Beckers. Two high school sensations who took separate roads. Clark to Iowa, Beckers to UConn. In college, Clark owned the spotlight, especially during the NCAA tournament showdowns. Even with legends like Gino Auriemma doubting her ability to thrive in the WNBA, Clark never flinched. Last night, destiny brought them together again, this time as pros, with the Indiana Fever hosting the Dallas Wings. But what followed wasn't just a matchup. It was Clark rewriting history in a way only she has managed to do, twice. Picture it, two teenage basketball prodigies lighting up courts across America, their paths inevitably set to collide. Caitlin Clark and Paige Beckers first went head-to-head in high school, both elite recruits, both game changers, yet worlds apart in style and swagger. Clark delivered jaw-dropping scoring bursts, no-look dimes, and limitless three-point range. Beckers answered with graceful precision, a silky mid-range jumper, and court vision that matched, even challenged, Clark's brilliance.
I mean, I feel like she's played in the same manner that she, has since she was, whether we were on the U16 team together, U19 team together, whether it was me watching her in AAU, she's always just been smooth. She takes what the game gives her. Her midi has always been as nice as it's been this year. She just plays way older than she is. She's confident, she's smooth, she just does everything at a high level, can score from all three levels. And that's how she's always played. And that's obviously translated really well.
Their college journeys couldn't have been more different. Beckers committed to the storied UConn dynasty under Gino Auriemma, a program stacked with championships and tradition. Clark went a different route, choosing Iowa, a team with heart, hunger, and something to prove. That bold choice sparked unforgettable NCAA tournament clashes that would forever shape their legacies. In March Madness, Clark's Iowa squad shattered Beckers' UConn dreams. She delivered towering performances when the spotlight was brightest, including a jaw-dropping 41-point display that sent the Huskies packing. Clark won 2 of their 3 showdowns, outshining Beckers when it counted. Fans and analysts took sides, fueling a rivalry so epic it felt larger than the game itself.
And a lot of people are saying, oh, everything is she was Caitlin before Caitlin, she's better than Caitlin, and all this stuff. That kind of stopped in the media. Caitlin Clark put up better numbers in the WNBA than Paige did in college.
Gino Auriemma didn't hold back when it came to critiquing Clark's game. He questioned her shot selection and cast doubt on whether her style would hold up in the WNBA, especially when compared to his own star, Paige Beckers. In Auriemma's eyes, Beckers' polished fundamentals were built for the pros. The contrast between Clark's fiery scoring outbursts and Beckers' effortless control became more than just a stylistic difference. It was a clash of basketball ideologies.
And Diana said it best. This kid's in for a rude awakening. And they all jumped over her, but they didn't read the whole thing that she said. But nobody's printing. You know, Diana Taurasi was right. This kid's on the wrong team. She's got the wrong skill set to handle the physicality of that league, and she's a rookie. And if you're a WNBA player, if you're any kind of player, you're going to say, I'm going to make a statement.
Both stars declared for the WNBA, and fans everywhere waited for the moment they'd finally collide on the pro stage. Clark held a 2-1 edge in college, but now faced fresh questions about her transition to the big league. The hype was undeniable. ABC snatched the game for a national broadcast, knowing the entire country would be watching. With Clark battling early struggles on a rebuilding Fever squad, this showdown wasn't just another game, it was a pivotal moment for her legacy.
Talking to our player development coach yesterday, and he was like, just sent me a few things of like even Steph going through a slump. I think he was like 27 for his last 70 or something like that. Like the best in the world go through it, and I think that's like where you can find your confidence. And I think the thing I always fall back on is like, I know how hard I've worked, so you know this isn't something that's going to last, and the best players in the world go through this. So I feel like I'm getting good shots, and I think that's why it's frustrating, because those are the shots that I make.
But here's where it gets interesting. Clark's Fever were reeling heading into this high-stakes clash. They had just taken back-to-back losses to teams that, on paper, they should have beaten. The LA Sparks and the Golden State Valkyries handed Indiana defeats that had fans frustrated and baffled. These weren't juggernauts. They were beatable teams the Fever were expected to roll over.
I feel like this stretch, you know, this is a big game for us. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. So I think for us is like, we got to find a way to be able to stack really good games together. And then we go on the road, and you know, we're on a back-to-back, which is just a challenge in itself. No matter who you're playing, we play Connecticut, then we play New York. So I think Steph's message was, you know, yes, All-Stars coming up, that break's coming up, but our focus is on these 3 games that we have left. So in that sense, I do think it's critical that our focus just remains on the game in front of us. And I feel like that's what everybody in the locker room is doing.
Behind the scenes, a clash of basketball ideologies was bubbling between Caitlin Clark and Coach Stephanie White. Clark thrived in a fast-paced, up-tempo game, one built on transition and quick strikes. White, on the other hand, favored a more methodical half-court approach. That difference in vision wasn't just tactical, it created real tension inside the Fever organization. The breaking point came during a heated sideline exchange in the game against the Atlanta Dream. Cameras captured every second of their intense back and forth, the emotion unmistakable. That moment laid bare the growing divide between star and coach, turning a simmering conflict into a full-blown storyline.
There is definitely something going on within the locker room, the front office. Something is off, man. This is the 3rd situation in one game we have had involving Caitlin Clark and the coaching staff and pretty much another player. And it looked like Caitlin Clark and Stephanie White definitely had a situation where they was in a heated exchange right before halftime.
Lineup instability only added fuel to the fire. Clark was just coming back from injury, trying to regain her rhythm. Damiris Dantas had rejoined the team after national team duties, further shaking up the rotation. The result? Disrupted chemistry and a team struggling to find its footing. The Fever couldn't lock down a consistent lineup or offensive identity. Roles were still shifting, timing was off, and the offense looked completely disjointed. Game after game, missed shots mounted, turnovers snuffed out any momentum. The fast break brilliance Clark thrives on? Nowhere to be found. Even Clark admitted the team was stuck in a frustrating pattern. I think we've struggled in the fact that we're able to play one good game, and then we play a bad game, then we play a good game, then we play a bad game. Her shooting slump added to the worries, but she stayed defiant. "I'm never going to stop shooting," she said, likening herself to Steph Curry when he hits a cold patch. The Fever finally snapped their losing skid with a win over Atlanta, but the victory didn't fix the deeper issue. The tension between Clark and White lingered. The philosophical rift wasn't resolved. It was just paused.
You know, it can be frustrating when your shot isn't going in the way that you want it to, but then like I look at the box and it's like I'm really 4 shots away from having a really good game, a really good shooting game. So that's where you find your confidence, and I know those are shots that I can make, and I'm never going to stop shooting. So, I mean, until I break out of it, I'm just going to keep launching, and that's all I know, and I'm still confident in everything that I can do.
The Dallas game became more than just a regular season matchup. It was a pivotal test. With Clark eager to prove that her fast-paced, high-vision style could thrive at the pro level, and Paige Beckers standing across from her as both a rival and symbol of that challenge, the stage was set. This wasn't just a game, it was a statement. Clark was ready to show that when she's free to lead her way, the Fever's ceiling disappears.